You're walking into your kitchen and everything seems completely normal. Your cat is calmly eating, tail relaxed, focused on its food. Then, without making a sound, you place something green and harmless right behind it, a cucumber. Seconds later, your cat turns around and instantly jumps into the air like it just saw a ghost. Why does something so simple trigger such an extreme reaction? And more importantly, is your cat really afraid of cucumbers? Before we get into it, take a second to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because small everyday mysteries like this often hide much bigger truths than we expect. But here's the surprising truth. Cats aren't actually afraid of cucumbers. At least, not in the way most people think. What you're seeing in those viral videos isn't a cucumber phobia. It's something much deeper, wired directly into your cat's survival instincts. Cats are both predators and prey. That means even though they hunt, they're also constantly aware that something bigger could be hunting them. So their brains are designed to react instantly to unexpected changes in their environment, especially behind them. Here's what surprises most people. The cucumber itself isn't the problem. It's the sudden appearance. When your cat is eating, drinking, or relaxing, its guard is partially down. It assumes the environment around it is safe. So when it suddenly turns around and sees an object that wasn't there a second ago, its brain doesn't have time to calmly analyze it. Instead, it goes straight into emergency mode: fight, flight, or in this case, jump. That explosive reaction you see isn't fear in the traditional sense. It's a reflex, a rapid defensive response triggered by the brain's threat detection system. This is where most people get confused. They think the cat recognizes the cucumber and mistakes it for a snake. And while there's a bit of truth to that idea, it's not the full story. Cats do have an instinctive sensitivity to snake-like shapes. Long, curved objects can trigger caution because in nature, snakes are dangerous. But your cat isn't carefully analyzing the cucumber and thinking, "That's a snake." There's no time for that. The reaction happens before conscious recognition. It's the surprise combined with an unfamiliar shape that creates the perfect storm. Think about it like this. If something suddenly appeared right behind you when you weren't expecting it, your body would react instantly too. Your heart would jump, your muscles would tense, and you'd probably move without thinking. That's exactly what's happening to your cat, but faster and more dramatically, because in the wild, hesitation can mean death, so your cat's brain is optimized for speed, not accuracy. And that leads to something important most people don't realize. These reactions might look funny, but they're actually signs of stress. When a cat jumps like that, its body floods with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Its heart rate spikes, its muscles tense. It prepares for danger. And even if nothing happens afterward, that stress response is real. Over time, repeated experiences like this can make your cat more anxious, more alert, and less trusting of its environment, and even of you. Because from your cat's perspective, something unpredictable and potentially dangerous keeps appearing when it feels safe. That breaks a fundamental rule in a cat's world: safety during vulnerable moments. Eating is one of those moments. So when that safety is disrupted, it creates confusion, and confusion leads to stress. So no, your cat doesn't hate cucumbers. It's reacting to a violation of its sense of security. And once you understand that, those viral videos start to feel a little different, because what looks like a harmless prank is actually triggering one of the most primitive survival systems your cat has. And that raises a bigger question. If it's not really about cucumbers, what other everyday things are silently triggering your pet's instincts without you even realizing it? That's where things get even more interesting, because sometimes the smallest details in your home can shape how your cat feels in ways you'd never expect. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. But we're just getting started. If a simple object like a cucumber can trigger such a strong reaction, then the real question becomes this: what actually determines whether your cat feels safe or threatened in your home? Because here's what most people don't realize. For cats, safety isn't about what something is. It's about how and when it appears. This is where things take a surprising turn. Cats don't experience the world the way we do. Humans rely heavily on logic and recognition. We see an object, we identify it, and then we decide how to feel about it. Cats work in reverse. First comes the reaction.
Only after that comes understanding. So when something suddenly shows up behind them, their brain doesn't pause to ask, is this dangerous? It assumes it is. And that assumption is what keeps them alive in the wild. Here's what surprises most people. Predictability is one of the most important factors in a cat's sense of security. When your cat can predict its environment, where things are, how they move, what usually happens, it relaxes. It feels in control. But the moment something breaks that pattern, the brain flags it as a potential threat. That's why the cucumber prank works so consistently. It's not just unexpected, it appears silently in a blind spot during a moment of vulnerability. That combination is almost like a perfect trigger. And this doesn't just apply to cucumbers, it applies to everyday life. A new piece of furniture placed overnight, a bag left on the floor that wasn't there before, a sudden noise behind them. Even the way you approach your cat from outside its field of vision. All of these can activate the same system. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Cats don't just react to physical objects, they react to changes in energy, movement, and routine. So if your behavior becomes unpredictable, if you suddenly start doing things that don't match your usual patterns, your cat notices, and it adjusts, sometimes by becoming more alert, sometimes by becoming more distant. This is where most people get confused. They think their cat is being dramatic or overreacting, but from the cat's perspective, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's surviving. And once you understand that, something shifts, because now you're not just seeing random reactions, you're seeing a system designed to detect threats instantly, prioritize survival, and avoid risk at all costs. Which leads to an important realization. If you want your cat to feel safe, it's not about removing cucumbers. It's about removing unpredictability. It's about respecting the invisible rules your cat lives by. Approach from where it can see you. Avoid sudden changes during moments like eating or resting. Let new objects exist in the environment before expecting your cat to accept them. Give it time to investigate, to smell, to understand. Because when a cat chooses to trust something, it's not random, it's earned. And here's the part most people never think about. Every interaction you have with your cat is either reinforcing safety or introducing doubt. Even small actions matter, and over time, those small moments shape how your cat sees you, not just as an owner, but as part of its environment, part of what is predictable or unpredictable, safe or potentially threatening. So the next time you see a cat jump at a cucumber, you'll see more than just a funny reaction. You'll see a glimpse into a deeply wired survival system, one that's constantly scanning, constantly evaluating, constantly protecting. And you'll realize something important. Your cat isn't overreacting. It's reacting exactly as nature designed it to. And once you understand that, you start to interact with it differently, more consciously, more respectfully. Because sometimes the smallest changes in how we act make the biggest difference in how they feel. So if this changed the way you see your cat, take a second to like the video, share it with someone who loves animals, and subscribe to the channel. Because sometimes the simplest things hide the most misunderstood truths.